All right, Lee. So, we were just talking offline for a second there. But I gotta capture this story. This is interesting. So you were talking about Diana Rusini, and I call her Dirty Diana, and Mike Vrabel. So you sent me an
Master
article
Mike.
earlier. I failed to look at that article, but break that down for us. Break that down. Break that article.
So, okay, I want to source it, right? If I could find it myself, but
And let me
this
see if
was
I can go back.
the article was on. It was in the Boston News, okay, Boston 25 News, and they found some extra footage on the whole Rossini Vrabel thing, like just kind of starting to put some more pieces to the puzzle here in terms of okay, basically how long was this going on? This piece of footage that they found dates back to 2020. Okay. And in the video, it's a video, you see them like, she's sitting on like what looks to be like a bar stool. He's standing up. He leans over, he kisses her. Not a long kiss, but lips connect, right? It's dark, right? But you can tell there's a little interaction there, very short, but they're, playing with each other and, just like they look like a couple. Okay. They look like a couple. And so at this point, again, it's 2020. Mike Vrabel is the head coach of the Tennessee Titans during this period. And Rossini, if I'm accurate here, she was with ESPN. She wasn't with The Athletic at this point. She was with ESPN. Now, the important part of all of this is the fact that Vrabel, during this time period, he's married. He's still married. Okay. He's taken or spoken for. And Rossini was not married yet, but she was engaged per the article. Again, Boston 25 News. Now, what I did, because I was just curious, my brain spinning. I'm like, okay, I wanted to see when she got married after that. So I went on Wikipedia, I looked up her information. It shows not too long after that, she ended up getting married. And then she, I think she has like 2 kids, right? Maybe more, but I saw 2 boys. But what stood out to me was her first son, born in 2021, right? So this is after this interaction, 2021. She's now married, whatever, with her husband. But she named the son Michael. Okay, so I'm looking at it as I'm like, wait a minute. Wait. So my question to you guys, right? This should definitely cause some semblance of concern as to whether or not this kid might even be her husband's kid, right? And on top of like, why would you co-sign? Because I mean, we all have kids, right? And for the most part, it's you're having the conversation with your spouse in terms of you come into agreement on what the name of that kid should be. All right. Of course, you have one spouse may have a stronger opinion than the other on said kid, but it's a collaborative effort at some point.
Yeah.
And any spouse at some point have the right to say, hey, this particular name off limits. Okay. I just don't know how that, her knowing what she's done or what she was doing, not done, because obviously this thing has been going on since then, to a lot, like, I don't know, man. It just is dirty. It just comes off real foul.
So for those who may not know, her husband's name is Kevin Goldschmidt. So it is not Mike or Michael or any derivation thereof.
Right.
This
Right.
one.
So you can't use that as an
dot
excuse.
I's and cross T's here, right? Now I don't know if I am assuming he was not aware of the trysts that were taking place. So he would clearly, if he had known, I would assume he would have put a veto through any Mike or Michael or derivation thereof, but he did not know. Now, the question is, if the 2020 thing happened, why would they have a son whose name is eerily similar to the
Yeah.
other guy?
Yeah.
Guess what,
Yeah.
guys? So check this out, right? So I'm back on Wikipedia. When I checked this last week, I don't know if you guys are on Wikipedia. Like if you look
Yeah.
at her Wikipedia page, right? You see, where she's born, her alma mater, notable credits, spouse's name, Kevin Goldschmidt, children 2. The names of the children are no longer there.
Yeah.
It was there last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was there last week. So
Kevin need to do a paternity test, man. Kevin needs to do a paternity test. Seriously, Kevin needs to do a paternity test because I mean, you know, and I feel bad because, you know, from what I have seen with Dirty Diana is that it's not only Mike Vrabel. What I heard also is Sean Payton was involved somewhat. Now, they didn't say how involved. This is, allegedly Sean Payton and other NFL coaches. So a lot of NFL coaches are shaking in their boots right now because they might have been dealing with Diana, affectionately called Dirty Diana. And so Sean Payton used to call, and when she didn't pick up, he would say, leave sweet little messages about him loving his quarterback. And it wasn't really him loving his quarterback. It was him missing his quarterback. He was referring to Diana Rusini with these messages that had been left on voicemail. And she and get this now, she actually talked about this on air on a podcast, Lee, because you had mentioned the podcast, but she had talked about this on a podcast. And so people took it as, man, Sean Payton is passionate, you know, back in the day. Sean Payton is passionate about his QB and, you know, talking to Diana Rusini. But people now, you know, the internet sleuths. The internet don't lose. The internet does not lose. So they went back and started researching. And now with all of this coming out on Diana Rusini, there's new context. There's new context to all of this.
Yeah.
Lee, there's a name that also came up.
I know.
With Diana Rusini.
I know that name.
Your boy.
I know that name. Yeah. When he was with the Redskins.
When he was with the Redskins.
And we're talking about Sean McVay here. I saw that.
So okay. So I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get.
Hey, and for everyone Sean McVay was single at that time.
He was single.
He was not married.
Exactly. He was single.
Yes.
And I guess at that time she was single too, right? So
she was single too, right?
Yeah, she was single too. So it seems
but the way that story goes, that story goes is that there was a report. It's not a report, but it was hearsay that she got in a fight with another female analyst, a drunken fight at a bar, right? Somewhere at a restaurant outside of the Redskins training camp facilities.
Yes.
And they were fighting over Sean McVay.
You can't make this up, man. You can't make this up.
No.
So all of this is unraveling under Diana Rusini right now. And all reports. And I was wondering why. Why has AJ Brown, why is AJ Brown's name so hot all of a sudden? I mean, his name just hot. I mean, and reports coming out from the locker room and reports coming out. And Diana Rusini was at the middle of all of this. And it just so happened that her alleged person she was dealing with, Mike Vrabel, is the team that AJ Brown is trying to go to. This is not a coincidence. Have you guys realized this? Have you seen over the last few weeks the AJ Brown saga is not as hot? Now, people are still talking about it, right? Because people are just mentioning it here and there because Adam Schefter just said that, you know, this is going to happen June 1, right? After, you know, the league year. And so people are talking about it. But it's not as hot and as tempered as it was when Diana Rusini was at the forefront of this. It's not a coincidence. So all of this is unraveling now under her. She's out. Does she get another opportunity? And also, how can you even take her seriously at this point when you know the involvement that she's had with multiple NFL coaches? This is disgusting for sports. This is disgusting for Diana Rusini's husband and family, kids, and it's I'm glad she got exposed. I'm glad she got exposed because now that's letting everybody know the fraud that she was, Diana Rusini. I can't get fired. I can't get fired from the podcast.
Right.
So I could say whatever I want to say. So
Well,
anyway, I'll leave it there.
I just want to put this out here though, but the second kid, the son, he has his father's middle name. His middle name is named after his father. So I mean, there's some concession.
She got one right. Boy, look at. That's what happened, man. Hey, look, and this I gotta say this.
No.
Go ahead, Doc.
No, just a little light on casting a light on the other side of stuff, right? The guy who says it was all laughable, the photos, then it's like, hey, he never actually says what he did, but he didn't live up to the standard for the team and the family and the fans, and he has to take a step back to, address this situation, right? So he stays for Thursday, day 1, stays for Friday, day 2 of the draft. It's going to step away on the Saturday, day 3 to go through counseling, right? And it's back at work on Monday. That is the most fastest, most effective counseling anybody has ever had for the thing he doesn't really acknowledge what it was for, but it was a weekend counseling. I need to know what the counseling thing is because that's really, really effective to address a 48-hour counseling and it's over and done with you back at work like ain't nothing happened. Of course, it didn't affect the personal conduct policy and, the team he plays for, from the top, they do a little stuff on the side. Yeah. But anyway, that is.
I mean, what I find interesting and maybe it should not be interesting. I don't know. But the NFL was quick to come out and say that they're not really digging into this. There's nothing to see here for them, their side, right? And that may very well be the case. I can't really think of anything that would cross the line from from the NFL's perspective, right? But on her side, we all know, you can't be doing that, right? You're an analyst, you're a reporter, and Links. We talked about this during the last, right? You're an inside reporter, so there's a level of professionalism, a level of discretion, right? You have to show a high level of impartiality, right? So that whatever you're reporting, whatever you're putting out there, you don't want anyone to feel as if it's being coerced or it's being manipulative or, it's unethical. Okay. And, whether she's done anything that we are, that she's being accused of or not, the fact that she put herself in this position to be judged, right? Yep. To be, for people to question, I don't want to use judge, but for people to question her ethics or her motives. That's why the Athletic did what they did. I think they even have ESPN now is looking into her time with them and seeing what, because they want to make sure, hey, we want to make sure that nothing that she's done while she was with us cause any unnecessary harm, towards the team or towards, the consumer. So it's bad. It's really bad. And it puts a negative light shadow on females in that arena.
Yeah.
Because you've got a lot of good ones, right? Who are doing it the right way. And they have to endure a lot of sexism and all these other different things. And, they're walking the straight and narrow. But you got this, it just sets them back.
Yeah. 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 And I only got one. If I was Diana Rusini's husband, I only got one 4-letter acronym for her, and that's come from around here. That's all I got. That's all I got for her. That's all I got for her. That's it. That's
Not
it.
everybody's gonna know what that means, but I got you. I got you.
So hey, look, the draft came and went. We had some, it was a good session. We had, covering the first round of the draft live. That was great. I want to, while we were live, we Lee, I know you felt some hurt, you felt some pain, and I could see it. I could see it. I could see it. With the 13th pick in the draft, you guys picking Ty Simpson, and I know you were shocked on this pick. So I know I was asking you at number 13, what have you heard from, the Los Angeles Rams and the team, McVay, Les Snead? What have you heard around the team with this pick, and what's the news coming out of LA about this?
So there's been a lot that's been broadcasted, covered, talked about, debated on this pick since the draft, right? I think it's for as long as I've been a Rams fan, right? I've seen them win 2 Super Bowls. I've seen them pick number 1 overall twice, okay? Bradford and Goff. And on all of those occasions, I've never seen them dominate the media circuit as they've done with this one pick. Okay, like all of the channels, First Take, Get Up, NFL Live, they all started the coverage with the Rams pick. So that being said, there was a lot talked about with this. Now, at first, people were thinking that, Les Snead went rogue and made this pick without the consent of Sean McVay. And this was because of the demeanor that Sean McVay showed during the press conference after the pick.
Right.
He looked a little bit off. He looked unassuming. He looked like he just didn't want to be there. He called it grumpy. But as he explained it, which makes a lot of sense, right? It's a very delicate situation because here it is that you're picking the next guy, the guy that's going to be taking over the franchise. And you have your main guy in Stafford, who coming off an MVP season, one drop punt away from going to the Super Bowl and possibly more than likely winning it. And so you don't want to do anything to disparage or cast any sort of a negative tone towards that, because we're still renegotiating his contract as well. So that explained why he looked the way he looked and was acting the way he was acting, because you don't want to be up there high-fiving and it's insulting, right, to Stafford. You don't want to do that. Now, with the pick itself, he was a big part of it, he being Sean McVay. During the draft, or shortly after the draft, Ty Simpson said that he never even spoke to the Rams, okay? That this was the first time he spoke to them was during the call. That's what he said the night of the draft. However, more information has come out. He's been on more interviews, and it came to light that he did talk to the Rams, particularly Sean McVay. He did come to the facilities, okay? Said and at one point had like a 4-hour conversation with Sean McVay. So it tells me that the Rams, they put a lot of work into this. They did a lot of due diligence. It was reported that Les Snead started on this track since January, right? Since January, that he was looking at trying to figure out, okay, how do we negotiate this and the situation to get ourselves, Ty Simpson, drafted. And that he was actually looking at Ty Simpson's tape dating back to November during the college season. So this is their guy. They wanted him. They scouted him. They had numerous conversations with him. Sean McVay had conversations with him. He signed off on it. It seems like he's all in on this being the next, quarterback, for the next 10 years for the Rams. So when you take all that into consideration, it's like, as a fan, I don't know. Okay, I'm not as smart as those guys when it comes to, the X's and O's and, the schemes and what Sean wants to do going, next year, 5 years, 10 years from now. So with all that being said, all I could do is say, look, they got their guy. I got to be happy with that. And yeah, like that's going to be the starting quarterback for the Rams when Stafford retires.
So
Go ahead, Doc.
I remember Lee, you and I had talked, and you had mentioned that at Alabama last year, Simpson, with the 15 games, was essentially running the offense that Sean McVay runs, right?
Yes.
So that's another really important piece to the puzzle is like, hey, this dude's running what we run. So we know he understands the offense, the protections, the scheme. So give him a year or 2 years to sit and learn, but like, we're not trying to project. It's not a hard projection because he's running what we run, right? He knows the lingo. the philosophy. I think for your Rams, and this goes back to what happened a few years ago with Green Bay, right? Like you knock on the door, NFC Championship games, quarterbacks playing well, occasionally injured, but when he's healthy, dominating. And rather than pick another weapon on offense or defense to hopefully increase your chance of winning a Super Bowl, you pick the heir apparent. And everyone's just kind of like, what's going on, right? The whole Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers situation. And for Green Bay, they never got that Super Bowl, but they never had a funk after Aaron Rodgers left, right? Jordan Love sits 2 years, comes in, plays well, and Green Bay just keeps on doing what Green Bay do, right? And everyone's like, hey, that's what you do. You pick your guy early, have him sit, have him learn, right? But then when it's your team and you're that close to winning and they pick the heir apparent instead of going for broke, you're like, what's going on, right? And the tricky part is the really well-run organizations, Green Bay Packers, because they don't have an owner, so it's just they run like a business. In this case, the Rams, they will forsake going all in, all for broke, and then trying to figure out afterwards to have that continuity to always be relevant. But I'm sure as a fan, it's like, why can't we take that chance and just push a few more chips in next season and then try to figure things out? I just think in this situation, having a quarterback who actually runs your offense, that's hard to pass up this close to the end of Stafford's career. So
Yeah, and that's a good point, Doc. And even when you look at the quarterbacks coming out next season, which is supposed to be a really, really good batch of quarterbacks coming out, none of them are running that type of an offense. Okay. So as Don stated, Alabama, their offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, he runs a pro style offense, very, very similar to that of Sean McVay. Ty Simpson, not only does he running it, he's controlling the offense, changing the protections, okay, throwing guys open, throwing through tight windows, throwing through, in the middle, and also equally as important, being able to negotiate the pocket. Okay, he's not a statue. He's able to move around and find the right window and deliver a very accurate ball. So you take all of that. He's not the most physical. He doesn't have the biggest arm, right? There's nothing physical like his physical attributes. Nothing jumps off the paper, off the tape. But mentally, and when you look at, and I watched a lot of tape since the draft to try to figure out what this guy's about. He is a thinking quarterback, and he's thinking in real time. He can turn his back to the defense, play action, come back, read the defense, go through his progressions while eluding the rush and deliver an accurate ball to the right guy. So he checks all the boxes there. But I think as a fan, we were sold, or we were under the impression that everything was all in for Matt Stafford's perceived last season. And this one pick, why it was so jarring was because this is the antithesis of that. This is the complete opposite of being all in. What you're doing, as Doc stated, you're prioritizing relevancy or staying relevant over going all in for this one season with that pick. Not to say that that's a bad thing. It was just a total surprise to everyone. And that's why I had the visceral reaction I had during the broadcast. I'm like, this is not what I was told. This is not what I expected. We wanted a weapon that can come in and impact right away and get us like a really, really, really good offense and make it just stellar, make it excellent. That's not what we're going to get. So we had some additional pieces in the draft. We got a tight end from Ohio State. We got Ohio State. We got a tackle, that too, right? But we got a tackle. We got a wide receiver finally in the 7th round but he's a wide receiver I heard of, CJ Daniels. I watched him. He's from Miami University of Miami. And he's like a Puka Nacua, right? Not to say that he's going to have the same type of success, but his style, he's a big guy, 6'2", 200 some odd pounds, really, really good hands, does not have breakaway speed, but he can catch contested balls, and he has a nose for the end zone. So we'll see if it works out. Yeah.
Well, seeing what you just broke down, you and Doctors broke down with this pick, it appears that it was a no-brainer. because if the Rams did not pick Ty Simpson, then he most possibly could have gone, I say, in the second round, high second round. I don't know if somebody was looking for him, but I don't think he would have been there in the second round when you guys picked again. He would have been gone. So when you look at it, like you said, Lee, that he is running your offense, a similar style offense, that's a no-brainer. I mean, you got to get that guy. You got to get him.
Right. I mean, look, if we're being really honest with ourselves, right? He was not going to make it to the second round. This is the draft. You have a lot of people that were really looking at him. They're not going to say. No one wanted to. I mean, the fact that nobody even knew the Rams were that interested in them themselves. Like, this was news to everyone. 4-hour conversations, studying him since January. Louis Riddick said the only reason he kind of pieced it together that the Rams were interested was they have this thing called a call log, right? And I don't know how analysts get their hands on it, but they could see the calls that were being made from LA, right? The Rams facilities to Alabama or whatever it may be to talk to him. And so there's some interest there. Okay. But there were other teams interested because they were also heavily tied to the Cardinals. And the assumption was the Cardinals were going to trade back into the first round because everything we talked about in terms of what he does from a above the neck perspective, Mike LaFleur coming from the Rams, going to the Cardinals is going to want a quarterback that can do those exact same things.
Yep.
And you're going to want a quarterback in the first round if you feel like he can do it so that you get that fifth-year option.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And who knows, Pittsburgh may have wanted him too. But the fact is I don't think he was going to last. He was going to get into the second round. Someone was going to pick him up later in the round.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I got an idea of how, they got those call logs, Louis Riddick and all of them. They got them from Diana Rusini.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it, man.
Touche. That was good.
Dirty Diana.
Man. Yeah. Hey, hey, Doc. We talked about this a little bit before the draft. We talked about Grenard being involved in a trade from your Vikings, and that actually happened. We was able to, y'all took the call from Howie. It happened. We were able to pull that off. So that now the Eagles replaced Jalen Phillips with Grenard coming there from your Vikings. What's your take on that? With losing him as a player, and then what did you guys do in the draft to kind of, did you replace him, or what kind of things did y'all do in that?
Let me get that second question first. So in the second round, we took a linebacker from Cincinnati, Jake Golday. So I think they're already planning to, yeah. So
he's a good one too. He's a good one.
Yeah. Now I think getting back to, we've had a bunch of really good players on our defense, but we don't have the Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons type player, right? And we need these versatile guys who really understand football because of the scheme that we're running with Flores. So I think with Grenard, it's like, hey, if you're asking for a bit of money, okay, we need to let's get some compensation and get some cheaper players where we can get some neck up smart guys and run the defense we want to run. Now, I think overall, in the first round, we took this defensive tackle from Florida, who, if he stays healthy, is going to be great against the run, right? Now, the issue he's had, I think he's broken his foot twice. So I'm always worried when these guys come in, with his injury history, it's a good chance it's going to keep on happening. And that defensive tackle is a lot of force on your feet, so we'll see what happens. But we picked up at least, I think, 2 defensive tackles early in the draft, and I believe the thought is, hey, if we can stop the run, especially up the middle, because teams now love just trying to run the ball up the middle and get 4 yards and make it third and manageable, 2nd and 6, 3rd and 3, right? If we can get 2nd and long, 3rd and long, that's where the Flores defense shines, because it's all these different mass coverages, and it's hard for a lot of these quarterbacks to read the defense and figure out where the ball needs to go. But like paradoxically, if you invest in stopping the run, it now makes the passing defense more effective because you got more third and longs, right? We got Detroit, and I know even though they got rid of Montgomery, they still trying to run the ball with Gibbs. We got the Eagles with Barkley. We got the Bears that like to run the ball. San Fran will try to run the ball with McCaffrey. So if we can stop the run, honestly, the only offense I would be worried about as a Vikings fan is that Rams offense because it's Stafford. Stafford airs up 2 years ago. Stafford's seen it all. The schemes. I think he's the only quarterback, at least in the NFC, where it's like, I don't think our defensive scheme is going to confuse him. Brock Purdy might be ready because he liked the challenge. I think the last time San Fran played Minnesota, he was like, wow, that was crazy. So I think he's the kind of kid who will actually put in the work and will be less confused next time. But so I think from the Vikings perspective, the draft was good. It just wasn't an amazing draft for us, right? It's like, hey, we'll see how it plays out, but I'm not necessarily like looking forward to seeing how things go. It's more like I hope the philosophy worked. I think a lot of players in the trenches and seeing how things play out this coming season.
Yeah. It was. I see, a lot of moves that have been made. At one point, there was a slew of tight ends that were being picked, in the draft, and that's interesting that teams, were making a run on these tight ends. Can you guys think of what's your thoughts on that tight end run? Like what are you thinking? Do you think that was because I know we was talking about Sadiq and we was talking about a bunch of players. So what you guys got on that?
This sounds like a self-serving question. Thanks. All these tight ends that was picked. The one that absolutely sucks was Eli Stowers. I mean, that dude was straight garbage.
Garbage,
right? Straight garbage. I don't know why the Eagles pick him.
Don't know how he doing.
No, but seriously, like we all know Sadiq was the number one guy in that group. His measurables speak for themselves. I mean, speed out this world, vertical, broad jump, all that stuff. He's just off the charts. And the production that he had with Oregon was really good as well. Right? He backs up and he blocks. He's effective in the running game. But Eli Stowers, man, he's not too far behind. He's not as elite athletically as Sadiq. But he's more athletic than all of the other tight ends that was left on the board.
That's crazy.
Okay, yeah. So he's gonna come at he's Jimmy Graham mold.
Yeah, I got
right?
you. Yeah, mm-hmm.
He's not a blocker.
Not a blocker, right?
Maybe like a moving blocking tight end, but he's not like an anchor. You can put him on that edge and just manipulate the defense by disguising whether you're going to run or pass. When he's on that field, there's a 75% chance you're going to be passing the ball.
Yeah,
it's going to be pass and play. Okay, but when he goes out there, he has speed. He can hit the seam. He's good after the catch. He's tall, long. I think he's like 6'5", 6'4".
Yeah.
Okay, so he's like a big wide receiver.
Yeah, that Jimmy Graham.
He's a big wide receiver.
That definitely hit home because I remember how athletic Jimmy Graham was, and what was interesting to me and hearing from Stowers was that he really don't even know the tight end position like that. He just started, really. Right. He said he just started playing tight end, so he really don't know the ins and outs of being a tight end. He's just an athletic dude who could just go get the ball. So. That's going to be interesting, coming along, for the Eagles also.
So again, we got to make sure we look at this from the proper lens, right? Because we talk about this all the time. When a guy gets drafted, all of these guys, they're all athletic. They all have good traits, positive traits. It's up to the teams, it's up to the coaches to put them in the best position to be successful. So with Stowers, he's not big. I think he's just like 200 and is he under 210? No, sorry. He's like 239. Okay, he's 239. Okay, so he put on some weight, right? But his body type, he's lean.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not going to get up in your face. He's not. Like I said, he's not going to be an effective blocking, like you just said. He's just now learning the position.
Right.
So the Eagles are going to have to really use him methodically and make sure that they put him in areas where he can be as effective and successful as possible.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is going to be on Sean Mannion to be able to really use these pieces and juggle it the right way and get them right. And because one thing I did want to, before we move off of this, now that we're talking about, I think this is a really good segue into a note that I saw earlier today about your Eagles, talking about the same thing in terms of calling the right plays at the right time. Do you remember your old O-line coach?
Yeah.
What was his name?
The one who retired,
Yeah.
right?
Stoudemire? What's his name?
Stoutland, Jeff Stoutland.
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah.
Stoutman, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he was on the Kelsey's podcast with Travis and your boy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they were asking him, questions about, his time with the Eagles, yada, 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 right? And they asked him about, okay, what does he think contributed to the lack of effectiveness on the offense last season?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Did you see this? Did you?
No,
I
I
don't know
didn't
if
see
you,
it.
if you
I didn't
heard,
see it.
read. You
No.
didn't see it? Okay. So here's the quote. Here's the quote from him. Right? He says, I think anytime things don't go well, and I don't want to sound like I'm in an interview, but it's the truth. It's execution. It's calling the right play at the right time and not running bad plays into bad defenses. That's what Stoutland said. Then he goes on to say, I mean, it ain't that hard. I'm not going to sit here and make all this up. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look.
That's what he said.
Yeah. Yeah. That it makes total sense. It makes total sense because I think everybody could see and everybody knows this. If you're a true football fan, and if you know the Eagles also, and you've seen over the past couple of years, Nick Sirianni and his band of brothers do not need to call an offense. You don't need to be anywhere in their offense. Don't just stick your head in the room and go and leave. He does not need to be anywhere near offense. And that's why this year, again, they separated it so that he's not in Sean Mannion's room. You are the head coach, and that's it. You don't have anything to do with the offense. You don't have anything to do with the defense. Do whatever you do. I don't know what you're doing, but just do whatever you do. Do not mess with Sean Mannion. And that's why they brought in the OC from Tampa Bay also, who call plays. So he's the assistant OC. And so they got both of these guys that are going to chef it up, and they're going to do their thing and keep Sirianni out of those rooms. But yeah, I agree with Jeff Stoutland, man. It was piss poor. And like he said, it wasn't hard. If you're an NFL coach, if you are at this level and you're getting paid millions of dollars, you need to figure it out. And you have all these weapons. Mm-hmm. Come on, man. You got to figure it out. And yes, I could see, Stoutland, because Stout was going back to Andy Reid times. I mean, he was there. Yeah. So, when you think about it, he's groomed and built so much of these offensive linemen and knowing what to do. And when he saw how this was going down, he was like, man, it's nothing I could do. I mean, what you want me to do? And so I could tell there was some arguments happening. Yeah, there was some arguments happening, and they was just like, Stout, you got to go. So and that was, I think that's a huge mistake because, these linemen that have learned under Stoutland, and they used to call it Stoutland University, and learned under him, have been all Pro Bowlers, man. I'm talking serious Pro Bowlers. That you can't take that kind of experience and let that leave the building, and because you feel like you know what you're doing when you see the results that were happening on the field. So yeah, I need to go back and listen to that. I'll watch that whole thing with Stoutland just to hear his comments.
Right, and he would be the same positional coach that coached the line, right, when you guys had that 2,000 rushing yard season, right? Exactly. But now he's the problem.
Now he's the problem.
Push.
And tush push.
And the tush push.
So yeah, it's
No, man,
ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
That man had Jason Kelsey pulling.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had the center pulling on
Yeah.
run plays,
Yeah.
which you don't do because it's next to impossible to get the ball snapped and then get the center to move. But you don't know how to down on lock, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which complicates the blocking schemes for the defense even more because they're like, oh, we don't know where anybody going. Anybody could pull,
That's right.
right? So no,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Links, speaking of a come from around here moment, right? That's what your boy Howie did to the Steelers general manager, eh?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Steelers.
Hello?
Steelers thought they had Mekhi Lemon in the bag.
They thought they had him in the bag.
They thought they had him in the bag.
Hold on, please.
Yeah.
I got another call coming in.
Yeah.
Howie say, give me this wide receiver.
Yes.
You're going to be in Pennsylvania.
Right.
You're
Right.
going to be in Pennsylvania.
But not there. Yeah, that was interesting, man. How that all went down, you know. And they correct me on this. They said as long as when Pittsburgh was on the clock, you can talk to the player. But I think the Eagles jumped over him over Pittsburgh, and then the Eagles were on the clock. You can't talk to that player anymore. Or something like, I don't know if I'm right on that. I don't know how that works.
No, my understanding was Pittsburgh started calling because Dallas was ahead of them, was the only pick ahead of them.
Right.
And they knew
Okay.
Dallas wasn't going to pick a wide receiver because Dallas go with defense.
They weren't even on the clock yet.
Right.
They weren't even on the clock yet.
They weren't on the clock.
So they did that to themselves.
Yeah. So they figured they had your boy in the bag. Right. So they started calling to let them know, hey, we gonna pick you, right?
Right.
And I can't blame Pittsburgh because why in the world would Philadelphia and Dallas trade?
Yeah.
Why would division rivals trade?
That
There's
don't even
no
make
way
sense.
Philly gonna want to trade with Dallas, and there's even less of a way that Dallas would accept a trade. But what just happened? What?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So
there is a report out that Pittsburgh Steelers will reportedly be under investigation by the NFL for violating a draft rule before the Philadelphia Eagles selected USC wide receiver Mekhi Lemon.
Okay. Yeah.
So they weren't on the clock yet. And to your point, like, because you're supposed to be on, you can't contact the player until you're on the clock.
On the clock. Right.
And
Yeah.
Omar Khan, and again, I have a lot of misgivings on Omar. Like, I don't think he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing a good job because
Yeah.
the fact that Aaron Rodgers still haven't given them a decision and they still waiting on him.
Yeah.
This is not good GMing, right? But that aside, you talking to players before you on the clock, right? And you have an embarrassment happening on national TV, right? For you, well, mostly, but you could imagine how confused Mekhi Lemon was at that point in time because now he's talking to a team thinking this is where I'm going, and his agent have to snatch the phone away from him saying, no, Philly just traded for you. You this way you going.
Right.
you going.
Yeah, that was
bad luck.
That was not professional. Bad luck.
Bad luck overall. And that's really,
you look like you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly. You know, if I'm the owner, you got to go, man. You making me look bad. You making our organization not look like we're not organized, like we don't know what we're doing. And this is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a storied history of being one of those teams that are, you know, they making things happen and they have things in order. But now it's like, you know, I don't know, the decisions that they're making. You mentioned with Aaron Rodgers, you know, it's like they put a what you call it? They put a claim. I don't know the legal name to it
unrestricted.
Yes,
unrestricted free agent, veteran, some weird clause.
Right. So some rule that you can use that people don't hardly use. They put that on Aaron Rodgers, first right of refusal or something like that, where, you know, if he comes back, then he gets some higher percentage salary. Why? Why are you waiting on Aaron Rodgers, man? Oh my gosh, it
Right.
just doesn't make any
You know,
sense.
and like we said before, Links, and as much as I think Aaron Glenn has a lot to prove because he did not do a good job last season. The one good thing he did do was have Aaron Rodgers fly to New York so he could say in his face, "Come from around
Come
here.
from around here. Your
I agree.
services are no longer needed.
We don't
I
need you."
agree. We don't need you. We don't need you. To your face.
But Pittsburgh's going to figure it out because they have Mike McCarthy, and Mike McCarthy is going to lead Pittsburgh the same way he's led Dallas and before that. So, yeah, Pittsburgh. I actually feel bad for Pittsburgh fans because how good they've been for so long. Yeah.
But they did pick a quarterback, right? They did pick a quarterback. Let me see. Who was the quarterbacks?
Drew.
They picked up Drew Aller from Penn State.
Yep.
Okay. So he's another. His build is sort of like Will Howard, right?
So
he's tall, big guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Better than Kenny Pickett.
But he's inconsistent. He's inconsistent.
Yeah.
I think they should really give Will Howard a look and give him an opportunity to try to win this the starting position.
Give him the reins, man. I say give him the reins. Let the kid go for it. See what he can do. The only way you're gonna know what you got is you got to put him out there and let him do what he does. But you know, they look like they're still holding out hope for Aaron Rodgers, which is killing me. It's killing me every day.
But part of the problem is so many of these teams putting these quarterbacks and thinking these quarterbacks can win them games, dropping back and throwing 40 passes a game. That's not Will Howard. Now you got a decent running game to help balance him. He'll win you some games, but if you try to drop him back 40 times a game, that as much as I love Ohio State, that ain't gonna work. So, and that's the problem with so many of these teams in the league nowadays. As pass friendly as the league is, they forsake the running game and think every quarterback will be Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, or Tom Brady, and there ain't that many of them in the league.
Yeah. I wanted to drop this on y'all real quick. You know, I want to stay within our time frame here, but I heard that George Pickens said that he is not signing the franchise tag offer. He said he's not going to sign it, so trade me. And Stephen Jones already came out and said they are not giving him a new contract. He is going to play on the franchise tag. So here we go. The soap opera begins. It's already starting. So now you got George Pickens who's going to be holding out. What's going to happen here in Dallas? And Dallas just traded their pick to the Eagles, and we picked up a receiver. And now you having a receiver issue. He said he's not playing. So I guess that means he's going to accept the fines and go through the whole season and hold out, or is he going to play? I don't know.
So this is what happened. Remember, like I said, when we first started about how the Rams basically dominated they were the opening topic on all of the media channels after the draft. Okay. We ain't heard hide nor hair of what really, what the Cowboys did. They had a good draft, but no one really talked about it over these past couple of days, right? Jerry don't like that. Jerry doesn't like that. Jerry doesn't like that. Jerry just said last year, this is a soap opera. Okay, he wants everyone talking about the Dallas Cowboys all the time, right? 365 days is what he said.
Yeah.
So I think what happened, because remember now, before the draft, he had a conversation with George Pickens and his agent, and it was reported that George Pickens was going to come in and sign.
Yes.
Right before the draft.
Right before the draft, he was going to come in and he was going to sign. Okay, the franchise.
So then he could be traded. So then folks was talking, who could he be traded for?
Right.
During the draft.
Right. That's part of it too. But I think what ended up happening was you got Jerry, and Jerry's like, look, they ain't talking about us. I don't like that. Pull the, what was the script from last year? What did we do, Micah? We strung it along, right? Okay, George, come from around here with this franchise tag. We ain't gonna sign this right now. We ain't gonna sign this right now. So now,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it's now a topic. It's gonna be in the cycle. It's gonna be an ongoing thing. I don't know how this is gonna end up, but we all know that Jerry wants this thing to be strung out.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wants the Dallas Cowboys to be talked about. He said this himself. This is what he wants. So this is what's going to happen. I mean, to the detriment of the team, he wants the Cowboys to be in the media cycle.
This is straight WWE old school Vince McMahon storyline. Hey, so what's gonna happen is right before the draft, I wanted to come out that you coming in to sign. So folks gonna talk about us, and that if you sign it, then we're gonna trade you. And could Max Crosby be coming to the Cowboys with a trade? Who could we be trading for to get with George Pickens? And then folks gonna forget, and then but you ain't gonna sign. We ain't gonna give it to you. We ain't even gonna see it. So then after the draft, they're going to start talking about how you ain't signed it yet, that you were supposed to sign it, but you didn't sign it. And now that's a whole other story. So we got two stories out of doing absolutely nothing, right?
Nothing.
You got to sign. That's a whole story. And then you didn't sign yet. That's a second story. And we right back. We didn't even move where we were. That is the genius of the marketing guru. That is Jerry Jones.
Jerry is not interested in... He's not interested in winning.
No.
He's interested in keeping the Cowboys relevant and making money.
Yeah.
He wins with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, last question for you guys, and then we can wrap this up. Who do you guys think? And I don't know if you had time to look at this, but you can, give you a little time, and I could go first if you want. But who do you guys think had like one of the better drafts as a team? In this year's draft? I'll give you guys some time to look while you're looking at that. I am going to say, I'll go for the easy one here. And I am going to say, from a talent standpoint, I'm going to say the Jets. Reason why, obviously with the Jets, they're set up round one, David Bailey. I know a lot of people were saying, they would have went in a different direction other than David Bailey. But, hey, they got their edge rusher. They got Kenyon Sadiq. They got their tight end. They got their wide receiver, Omar Cooper Jr., right? Then they went in round two and they picked up Pons. D'Angelo Pons was another solid player. Then they got, a D tackle, Darrell Jackson Jr. They got a quarterback. I don't know the quarterback. Cade Klubnik. I don't know him.
Clemson. Yeah.
Okay. He's at Clemson. Okay, yeah. And then they got an offensive guard, Anez Cooper from Miami, and then VJ Payne, safety from Kansas State. So I think, especially in day one, they definitely won the draft. Overall, I think they did really well. Again, it's the Jets. I don't know what that is going to translate to. I feel kind of bad for some of those players, because if it's sad. It's sad because if Aaron Glenn, even only in his second year, okay, so don't get me wrong, even in his second year, you on the hot seat already. You on the hot seat. You was on the hot seat after your first year. Now he's on the hot seat again. And the players, look, with these players, you should be able to make something happen. You should not be, at the bottom of the barrel. You should at least be, I think, you should at least win about 7-8 games with these players that you have on the roster. You got some talent on the roster. You should be able to do something. If Aaron Glenn doesn't pull that off, I still don't think he should get fired after 2 years. You're just trying to build your roster. But unfortunately, I think he would be done after 2 years if he doesn't pull it off. But I think the Jets, in my opinion, they had one of the better drafts.
Don't forget now, the Patriots, they won and done Gerard Mayo 2024. Right.
They did.
Yeah. He only had one season.
One season. Yeah. So, it's sad. You got to give people more time.
Yeah. But no, I think that's a good one. The Jets definitely, they had a stellar draft. I was rubbing like, is this really the Jets, right? So all those players you just picked up, you just talked about, I think they had an A+ haul, right, with this draft.
Yeah.
The other team is another one that don't necessarily, it's they don't normally hit the radar when it comes to this stuff, is the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns. Yeah.
They had a good draft, right? They picked up the tackle out of Utah, Fano. They got two really good wide receivers, Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety out of I think it's out of Toledo. He's like he's one of those jack what they call him star safeties where he can play safety or nickel, so he can help with the run or you go back in coverage and pick up your slot guy. And then they picked up some help on the defense. They got them a tight end in the later rounds, and then to cap it all off, they picked up Taylor Green.
Yeah,
right. That's the athletic quarterback out of Arkansas.
Yeah.
So, I think they had a pretty good haul themselves. So they would be one. I think the Bears had a really good draft too. I really like their first pick, Thieneman.
Yeah.
So Kevin Byard is out. Byard was their leader in interceptions last year. And Thieneman, that's what he does, right? He is a ball hawk. So, and much more athletic. So I think the Bears, nothing outside of that, nothing over the top, but they picked in some really good pieces on the defensive side, on the offensive line. Ben Johnson knows what he's doing, so those would be the two right now for me. He had some other teams. I think Carolina, they had a good draft as well. Who did they have? Freeling, the tackle out of Georgia, and they did some plug and play guys on the defensive front as well. So those are the three that kind of jump out at me right now.
The two of y'all ain't gonna like the teams I think had a really good draft, and I'm gonna just not repeat the teams you guys mentioned, right? Okay. So where I am, I'm gonna give the Dallas Cowboys actually credit for having a respectable draft. Right. I think Caleb Downs was like a near perfect fit for what the Cowboys needed, right? To actually have like a guy who calls defenses and can run with Christian Parker wants them to run. Then you're talking about Mekhi Lawrence. They then got another edge rusher trying to bolster their pass rushing. They eventually got a.
Where's that edge rusher from, Doc?
Mekhi or the other guy?
The other guy.
I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Jay Sean.
He is from, where is he? Nice. Yeah. So Malachi Lawrence is from UCF. And then the guy in this fourth round, LT Overton, is from Alabama.
No, I'm talking about that guy. I'm talking about the Jay Sean guy. Talking about the Jay Sean guy.
I know. Yes. And then Barham is from Michigan. That school up north. Yeah. No, and got some offensive line help too, right? And then surprisingly, I liked what Arizona did, right? I think the Jeremiah Love with the running back, to then have him paired with Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then to take Carson Beck. I think to put Carson Beck with that offense is like they actually have what finally looks like a pretty decent offense at skill positions. I don't think Beck's the greatest quarterback in the world, but I think with those weapons, he'll utilize those weapons well. Now, again, the defense got to get better, and they're in the NFC West, so that's not going to be enough to move the needle in the NFC West. But I do like what Arizona did, moving off of Kyler Murray and having their potential quarterback of the future building up that offense. Because with Jeremiah Love, Trey McBride, and Marvin Harrison Jr., you should be able to move the ball.
Are you saying it was good that they moved off of Kyler Murray?
I don't think they were going to go anywhere with Kyler Murray. I'll put it to you that way. I'm not sure how much better they are not having Kyler Murray, but they got probably a good $20 to $30 million they can spend other places to make the team better, right?
Got you.
I'm not sure Carson Beck is it, but the backup quarterback last year, Jacoby Brissett. Brissett's not it either.
Right.
Like, Brissett's not taking them to the promised land.
No.
He's a good quarterback, but he's not taking them to the promised land. I think they just get to see what they can do with Carson Beck. Because after they drafted Love, I was like, oh, okay, cool. They got all these skill position players, and they ain't got no one to get the ball. Right? They need a quarterback. And so the pick of Carson Beck at least gives them that chance that he may be a guy to move that offense. So
yeah. You got the Super Bowl champions out of this division, and then you got you got the Rams there, and then you got the 49ers who
Lurking.
surprisingly was doing something last year. Surprisingly, with all the injuries they had. So it's going to be tough sledding for Arizona. You know, good picks, but it's going to be tough sledding for them in that division, man. That's a tough division to really break through. So, you know, maybe they could make some moves with these young players. I agree with you, Doc. I don't know about Carson Beck. I really don't know, but people think it's a solid pick. You know, we'll see. You know, I know he moved on from Georgia and went to Miami, got him to the national championship. I mean, hey, that's big. I mean, that's not a small feat. Hey, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but that division, that NFC West is that's tough, man. I don't see anything materializing anytime soon for Arizona in that division. Lee, looked like you wanted to say something. You wanted to say something.
No.
You good?
No. I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
Okay. All right,
No.
man. All right.
I don't disagree with anything you said.
Okay. All right.
You're good. Yeah.
All right, man. Okay. Well, hey, this good recap, you know, of the draft. Good you know, just walking through some of these things, and in the next couple of weeks, man. I mean, I think when does OTAs and you know, some of the mini camps and all that stuff get started? When is that happening? Like May?
Means like this week.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Rookies only. Right?
Yeah, the
Rookies,
rookie camps, rookie mini camps, and you know, the undrafted free agents and all that stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. That's something that we could kind of, you know, talk about in the next one. Some of those undrafted free agents, I know a lot of some of those, you know, all of these teams picked up some really solid picks. So, you know, and I know some of these guys are actually going to end up making the team. Making some of these teams. So as they go through their rookie mini camps and all that stuff like that, we keep an eye on some of these fellas, and we could kind of talk through some of those too.
Like the Heisman Trophy winner? Well, the runner-up. Diego Pavia.
He got a 3-year deal.
Going to
deal.
Baltimore.
Yeah, Ravens.
We'll see.
Ravens, yeah.
That was crazy. That was interesting how, you know, went undrafted, then was supposed to come in as an unrestricted, you know, a rookie free agent, undrafted free agent, and they decided, I don't know what happened, but they decided, hey man, we're gonna sign you to a 3-year contract. That was interesting. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He's talented. He just has to act like a quarterback, man. There's a lot of character flaws there that caused him not to get drafted. Has nothing to do with his talent.
Yeah.
Yep.
And before we sign off, another team of note, we'd be remiss not to call out the Raiders. Raiders had a really good draft too.
Raiders did have a good draft.
They had a good draft.
Yeah, for sure. Tom Brady.
But it's the Raiders.
Yeah.
But it's the Raiders.
It's the Raiders.
But yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's a new. I think it's a new regime though. This is a new day for them.
It's definitely a new regime when you get rid of Chip Kelly.
It's a new regime.
When you get rid of Chip Kelly, it's a new regime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note.
Yes.
On that note.
Yeah.
I have no issues with Chip Kelly. As an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Just keep him in college. Don't let him touch the NFL ever again. Ever. Yeah. All right, fellas.
All right, guys.
All right, man.
Take it easy.